Hello, and once again, hello! Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for tuning back in to join us. I am here with Elly today, and we're going to bring in a little bit of controversy.
Instead of Jam and Lemon hanging out for a bit, your hosts today are going to be Garrity and Lemon, two fruity-scented babies that often get confused with Dutchies.
Dutchies, short for Dutch angel dragons, are a species created by Eno, otherwise known as Telephone. They are categorized as dragons with horse-like traits. Let me repeat that again. They are categorized as dragons with horse-like traits. That's it. The reason I emphasize this is...
Take a look at us. Do we have horse faces? Do we have hooves? No, but we're still confused with Dutchies pretty often.
A Dutchie doesn't have to have hooves to be considered a Dutchie. However, the one marking point of literally every Dutchie is that they must have similar facial structure to a horse. That, and they have to have the mentality of a small child. Despite these rules, the majority of the Dutchie community doesn't follow them.
To say that something looks like a Dutchie just because it is a short-snouted creature with tiny wings is, well, pretty limiting. To say that Tang looks like a Dutchie is one thing. He does have the signature floppy ears and is actually an angel dragon. But to say that Garrity, a Trico, is an angel dragon simply on the pretense that she has a short snout with tiny wings is pretty silly. And even more ridiculous, Lemon has been called a Dutchie. Lemon.
But when you have animals that are simply just fluffy dragons, that's kind of a hard concept to copyright. Fluffy, fuzzy dragons were here before Telephone, and they will be here long afterward. To say that something is a Dutchie simply because it is a fuzzy, vaguely dragon-shaped creature is severely limiting and somewhat insulting to the artist. To make a fuzzy dragon that isn't a Dutchie, or to even make a Trico, is always greeted with the comment of, "You're copying Eno," and Elly and I don't think that's completely fair to the artists at all. But some of you say, why don't you make your character a Dutchie if you're sick of the confusion?
Well, to put it bluntly, Dutchies have restrictive rules in the species guide, which by itself is perfectly fine. But not everyone gels with certain aspects of the species. For instance, one of these rules is the infamous muzzle ring rule. This rule states that Telephone, the original Dutchie, is the only Dutchie allowed to have a particular facial marking, a ring of white around the top half of her muzzle. It is 100% fine if Telephone wants to keep this feature to herself. It's a great way to distinguish herself from a very large collective of Dutchies. However, the muzzle ring rule has expanded way beyond the Dutchie community.
As you know, I have a large selection of Tricos, from Garrity to Perrock to Cisara. Cisara's design is based on a black deer, as well as the bars and spots on a budgie. I gave Cisara the signature little ring of white around the muzzle that deer have, only to be greeted with a message through Amino claiming that I was stealing from Telephone because of the muzzle ring.
The rules of owning a Dutchie are crossing species lines, and for people that don't like the species lore and rules, it can be pretty upsetting. If you like the rules and you like the lore, good on you. You can enjoy something that we can't. But telling us to abide by rules that don't apply to us just because they're popular isn't fair.
You know what else isn't fair? Policing simple concepts because they're popular. Recently, I made a fluffy dragon base that could be used for either Dutchies or for good old regular angel dragons. When attempting to submit it to a Dutchie group on DeviantArt to try and sell a few bases, I was greeted with a message that essentially said this. You mean to tell me that there's a species of dragon exactly like Eno's copyrighted design? Change the name to Dutch Angel Dragon Base, then we'll talk.
Have you seen any Dutchie base? About 4 of them in total have horse-like features. Features that, mind you, every Dutchie is supposed to possess. The rest just look like, well, fluffy dragons. Of course there's going to be a dragon that looks exactly like Eno's copyrighted design, simply because Eno does not enforce the rules of her own species. The only rule of the species I've ever seen enforced is the muzzle ring rule, and even then, that usually isn't by Eno themselves.
Copyrighting something does not make it completely original. You can't copyright the concept of a fluffy dragon. a dragon with horse-like features and specific lore that built the dragon from the ground up, sure, copyright away. But a concept as simple as a dragon that is fuzzy, no man, that's not cool. It would be like saying, I made the only ever dragon wolf species and nobody else can make a dragon wolf ever or it's stealing.
Now there's one last thing we wanted to talk about before signing off and inevitably getting backlash. The Dutchie community is, well, let's face it, full of children. There's nothing inherently wrong with this. Adults with enough cognitive function to understand Eno's rules do exist within the bubble of the Dutchie fandom. However, most of it is made up of a vocal majority of children who don't follow or respect the rules.
Is there anything inherently wrong with this? Not really. It just pushes more adult creators away when there's a species that has such specific lore, species rules that make little sense that are often not followed, and as a fan base mostly made of younger furs and people who don't quite understand where people who don't like Dutchies or want to be part of the Dutchie community come from. Please don't take this video as us saying that Dutchies are bad or that owning a Dutchie inherently means that you act like these people. I own Dutchies and Telephone is one of my favorite performers. We just think that there are a few problems surrounding Dutchies that nobody wants to talk about simply because it's a popular species.
If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for hearing us out. It really does mean the world to us. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content soon.
If you haven't already, check out the description to see Candycrave's channel, which is full of amazing content. Maybe take a peek at our podcast and have a poke around to see what you like. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good night.
Stay sweet
and shoot for the moon. Bye-bye.